The things that have worked in the past are no longer working anymore. So you have two options. You can continue to cling to the old ways of being, or you can trust your heart and your imagination and try something radically different. I'm Meagan Mermaid, and I'm a clairvoyant and clairaudient intuitive with over 9 years of experience working with clients. And this is your energy update for the lunar eclipse and full moon in Pisces that's taking place on September 17th. The eclipse is happening a little bit before 1 p.m. Pacific on the 17th, and the full moon is happening later on that evening around 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. So lunar eclipses are very, very powerful. We have eclipses that happen every 6 months, and the lunar eclipse is very focused on relationships, where the solar eclipse is focused on the self. So September 17th marks the beginning of the eclipse portal. We're going to be stepping into the eclipse portal on the 17th, and we're going to be in almost this like underworld where the veil is thin until we come out on the other side on October 2nd when the solar eclipse in Libra happens. So hold on to your hats over the next 2 weeks. Things are going to feel more intense, especially connected to relationships and partnerships. With eclipses, it's often an energy of things getting eclipsed out of our life. So there might be relationships that have come to a completion. It also means that new relationships may be coming in. But just a word of caution, I would advise you not to start anything new, any new relationships, any new experiences between September 17th and October 2nd. This is vital because oftentimes the energy that we're attracting is going to be connected to our shadow work. Or if you do feel that something karmically is coming in and it is a part of your path, honor that, but recognize it may be temporary. Recognize it may trigger or catalyze something within you that will lead to healing, but it will ultimately probably not be something that's long term. And that's because this is an energy of transition. It's an energy of going from one chapter into another. So this is happening for us individually. It's also happening for us collectively. We're going into a new chapter collectively. So eclipse energy can be very powerful. It can be very potent. It's not the time to set intentions. It's kind of like we just have to surrender. There's a bigger plan at play here. And there's really only so much that we can control. What we can control is ourselves and our emotions and how we respond to situations. But it's not the time to set intentions. It's not the time to manifest. It's the time to be as prepared as possible and be in a space of mastery in our body, heart, mind, and spirit, so that whatever is coming towards us, we can approach it from this space of objectivity, from curiosity, from a place of knowing that it's all happening for our highest good. So let's talk about the energy of Pisces, because Pisces is this very whimsical, very ethereal energy. Pisces has dual citizenship. So it's like one foot is here on earth and the other is in this idealized, almost fantasy land. And so when we have an eclipse in Pisces, I kind of see it as we're chasing a butterfly into the horizon, and all of a sudden we walk right into this rabbit hole, this black hole that's also a tidal wave at the same time. So it's just like, oh my God, we cannot prepare. And then let's add the energy of Uranus, which is good energy, good surprises, but there's a part of us that may be clinging to an old version of us, and it can feel terrifying to let go of who we thought we were, to let go of a part of our identity. Pisces can be the victim. Pisces can feel like, why are things happening to me? Or it can be the energy of naivety, where we trust people that shouldn't be trusted, or we see the best in people, but that's not where they are. So we need to be really mindful during these next 2 weeks, practicing discernment, going slow. Don't be quick to accept things or go along with things. Really just allow opportunities or situations or experiences. Just sit with them and just continue to ask yourself, does this feel true in my body, in my heart, in my spirit? Make the choices that you need to make based on how you feel in your body, because the energy around us is going to feel foggy. It's going to feel like we're kind of walking through this mist. We're not going to be able to see things clearly, and everybody is going to be more triggered than usual. So we really have to focus on ourselves. As we're still in this energy of Virgo for the time being, ground into that, ground into the energy of Virgo. I just started changing my diet and incorporating more fruit juices and smoothies and kind of stepping back into a more plant-based lifestyle. Not completely. I definitely still practice intuitive eating, but I've noticed that this Virgo energy has really put me into this space of wanting to cleanse my body and wanting to feel lighter in my body. And so anything like that that you can do, whether it's eating healthier, going outside, drinking more water, spending time in nature, grounding, meditating, doing whatever your mindset work is, studying, these are going to be things that help you. I would encourage you during this eclipse energy to spend as much time as you can in meditation and contemplation, because again, the veils are very thin and we can be receiving a lot of insights. But again, it's a time of transition and it's a time that we cannot prepare for. So just remember that this is a very intense time, but oftentimes we really need to be squeezed as tight as we possibly can in order for that pressure to lift us up to the highest timeline. To add to this Piscean flavor, the sun is also going to be opposing Neptune and the moon is conjunct to Neptune. So the words "things are not always as they seem" are really prevalent right now. And because the conjunction and opposition can really go either way, it's about finding balance or it's about finding this common ground. It's bringing things up that need to be looked at. It doesn't necessarily mean that, we're going to be tricked by people or, that we're going to be swayed or hurt in some way. That's a possibility. But what I'm feeling, especially with the energy of Mercury and Saturn, which I'll go into a little bit more detail with in just a moment, I feel like what we really need to sit with is things are not always as they seem in how we're perceiving the world. It's not as negative sometimes as we're perceiving things to be, that people might not be talking about us or looking at us the way that we perceive in a negative sense. So really what we're being asked to do is clear the fog around our mind, clear the fog around our self-perception, clear the fog around our limiting beliefs, clear the fog around whatever is keeping us from our joy, from our happiness, from our authenticity. But it also does mean tread lightly, and recognize that we are going through a deep time of change and transformation. So be careful, take your time. And if something feels off, if something feels like it's not a complete yes, just wait, at least for these next 2 weeks. If there's anything that you don't have to make a clear decision or a yes on in these next 2 weeks, wait, because the solar eclipse is going to illuminate things in a way that we have not seen in a long time, especially because this solar eclipse is in Libra and lunar eclipses are about relationships. Libra is about relationships. So if we can kind of just allow ourselves to ride the waves, whether they be tumultuous or calm waters, then we're going to have some type of epiphany or understanding about relationships and how we view relationships and how we view love and who we love and how we love. It's all going to be transformed in a very deep way. Uranus is also sextile to the moon. So again, we have a lot of unexpected surprises. We have maybe new people coming into our lives or unexpected meetings, unexpected opportunities. And again, I encourage you to take your time. Uranus energy is very quick, but with this Pisces energy feeling unclear or foggy, it's like we have to kind of get curious about these unexpected things and take them in as being wonderful. We could come up with wonderful new solutions to issues that we've been dealing with for years. And it could also mean that we might be more susceptible to trickster energy. So we just want to make sure that we're taking our time, that we're taking a pause and recognizing that Uranian energy can come in as quickly as it goes out. So again, don't feel like you're trying to hold on to something or build a strong foundation for anything that's happening in the next 2 weeks. This is all kind of crumbling and materializing and dematerializing and deconstructing and reconstructing. And what we're meant to do is to take care of ourselves, to take care of our vessel, to take care of our body, and to just chop wood, carry water amidst all of the changes that are happening. We also have Uranus sextile to Neptune, which means that this is an opportunity for spiritual awakening. So again, if you feel maybe that past wounds from relationships are coming up, or ways that you've looked at yourself or judged yourself or questioned your worth, that this is a time to go within and recognize that that love that we've been seeking is within ourselves. It's within our connection to source, coming back to the oneness of who we are, coming back to the divinity, the oneness of God consciousness. And from that space, then reflecting that out and attracting the people and the experiences that can also be on that wavelength. But with spiritual awakening, there's also this idea of loss or loneliness or isolation, because not everybody is on this path of accelerated growth that you are, that we are. So especially there might not be people in your immediate environment, in your family, in your workplaces that are on this same wavelength, and that can feel isolating at times. It can feel lonely. And so creating community, whether it be through social media or groups that you're a part of, or anything where you can find like-minded individuals, is going to be so important. And also be with any feelings of grief or sadness or loss, as this spiritual awakening causes you to say goodbye to aspects of yourself or your identity or relationships or whatever has felt like grounded. Like, if I can just cling to this, then I'll be okay. Sometimes part of our spiritual awakening is letting go of that thing we were so identified with, or we were so connected or attached to, in order to feel the detachment and recognize that we cannot cling to anything. That there's kind of this term, no branches, where we're on a spiritual awakening and we're like flying, we have these wings, right? But there's no branches for us to sit on. And so any kind of branch that we've been clinging to, of this is who I am, this is how I love, this is whatever it is, some of those branches just need to crack, so that we can discover we never needed the branch. We just needed to remember that we could fly. So then we have this curveball energy of Mercury opposing Saturn. And so I have Mercury square Saturn in my chart. And what it feels like to have Mercury and Saturn kind of in this like very challenging space is a very loud inner critic. It's kind of like that voice of saying like, "Oh, why did I say that?" Or like replaying events and feeling like that energy of like cringing, like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I said that. Maybe I should have done this. Maybe I should have done this differently." Also pay attention to your dreams, because again, they're going to be highlighting whatever it is that we're needing to clear or release. But what I encourage you to do is just notice and observe when that part of you feels that you are judging yourself harshly. Notice and observe that part of you without judgment. Can you stop judging the judger? Can you stop judging the judger and have compassion for them and recognize that they played a role in your soul's evolution? Because that inner critic, that inner judge wants to keep you safe. But the way that it's trying to keep you safe is by isolating you even more, by bringing out these feelings of guilt or shame or unworthiness or whatever it is. And so then, with this Mercury opposition to Saturn, I also feel that collectively, especially, have this Uranian Neptunian energy where like the spiritual awakening is coming through and it's lighting the path. It's bringing in more light, more information, more galactic knowledge into the space. But then again, we have these old ways of being that are crumbling. And so the old paradigms are really trying to hold on. And so the way that they can do that is by infiltrating the collective consciousness with these unproductive thoughts and these lower vibrational feelings in the astral plane that we might be picking up. So again, you really want to be diligent in your energy clearing, in your self-mastery work, and just ask yourself throughout the day, like, if you're feeling lower or if you're noticing unproductive thoughts, like, are these even mine? Where did I pick this up? Why do I think this is true? Can I toss this out? Is this contributing to my happiness? Is this contributing to my purpose? Or is it just bringing me down? Because we don't have time for things that bring us down. So in addition to all of the stuff that's happening in the eclipse portal, we have the fall equinox falling right in between the lunar eclipse and the solar eclipse. So the equinox is this very powerful time Equinoxes and solstices are the times where we step into these new chapters. And the fall equinox, if you're in the northern hemisphere, is a time where we're preparing and we're harvesting all of the information, all of the wisdom, everything that happened. And so we're stepping into this new season. So I'm going to be doing an equinox ceremony on Saturday, the 21st. Equinox happens on the 22nd this year on that Sunday. So you can join me live, or there will be a replay. Bridget the Morgan and the Octurians are coming together for this Bridge of Light ceremony where we are connecting the galactic realms to Earth in this very powerful time. And we're going to be receiving some very transformative information and some activations that will allow us to move through this time with ease, but also to begin to anchor this higher consciousness onto the planet and integrate it in a time where the veil is thin enough that we can receive the galactic knowledge. And it's also the time where the earth is opening up to hold and be that space of foundation and security and deep magic. This Celtic energy is coming in. It's like the season of the witch, right? The season of the witch and the season of the starseed are colliding, and it's creating the Bridge of Light ceremony that I'm super excited about. It's only $22 to join with that replay included, and I'd love to see you there. I'll be sharing more details in the link in bio. So I'm going to be pulling some cards to get a better idea of how this moon is going to affect us and what we can do, even if it's not very much, to prepare for it. So I just got this tarot deck that is all female cards, which I just find is so beautiful. I love the feminine energy that comes through this deck. So the first card that we have is the Five of Swords. So this is something that we need to be mindful of. It's like this deceptive energy. Not everything may be as it seems. Be careful who you trust. Be careful to read the fine print about things, that because there's so much cloudiness and so much inner critic energy, that everybody's shadow is coming out. And again, lunar eclipses, 2 solar eclipses, it's a time where we're going into the underworld. So the darkness is more prevalent. The light is more prevalent, but the darkness is also more prevalent. So it doesn't mean that you have to be afraid or you have to close yourself off, but it does mean be mindful. Use common sense. If it doesn't feel right, if something feels off, trust that. And then we have the 10 of Swords. So this is really lovely today. But I feel like this is beautiful because the 10 of Swords indicates that whatever our fears were, that it's in the past, like it's already happened. There's literally no more swords left that can go into this person's back. So again, this could also be in the energy of the past where we have this fear of being betrayed. We have this fear of being hurt. And so maybe we've been closing ourselves off to new opportunities or new experiences because of that. But what was coming through as I see the top card on my deck, the Mermaid Empowerment Oracle, is this card, Pearl. I'm willing to see the pearl of wisdom. So rather than shutting ourselves off to new experiences because of how we've been hurt in the past, how can we open to finding what we learned from those situations, what we learned about ourselves, what we learned about what we want, what we didn't want, what we learned about how we can handle situations moving forward? Because the truth is that in this game of life, we're going to continue to repeat the same types of patterns or experiences over and over again in this lifetime and others. We're going to play out the same dramas of life until we get this individually and collectively. So as a collective, we're healing betrayal. We're healing this idea of grief and loss and suffering and sadness. So we have Judgment. I feel like this Judgment card represents this feeling of like this awakening out of the suffering based on that contemplation, based on that willingness to release the past and to open to a higher perspective of the why these things happened, instead of just being the victim of why did these things happen to me. Instead, ask, why did this happen? How did it happen for me? And it's a very different energy. We also have the 8 of Pentacles. So again, I feel like this is what we need to do. We need to be focused on work. We need to be focused on our creative projects. We need to be focused on service, how we can be of good use to other people, how we can keep putting love and positive intentions into the field when there's so much fuckery. I'm just going to use the word. And then we have this card, the Journey. which is I celebrate every step of the journey. I feel like this deeply represents us walking into the eclipse portal. We don't know what's coming. We don't know what's on the other side. We will not be the same once we get to the other side, but we can prepare ourselves through our self-mastery and our mindset work and our self-love and our self-care and all the different things, the tools in our toolkit. And we can celebrate this step without needing to know what's ahead. I'm going to pull one more tarot. We have the Nine of Wands. So again, the Nine of Wands is like, how many more things do I have to go through? How many more experiences? I'm tired. I don't want any more spiritual awakenings because they're a lot. They're draining. And that may be true. But we also have to recognize that we have the stamina. We have the energy to keep going. So I'm going to pull from a couple more cards because I have a few new decks here that I haven't worked with in a while. So we have slow down, pause, and allow things to unfold. I love this. And what's really beautiful is like, I see that there's like this couple that's sort of dancing there. And the fish definitely represent this Piscean energy where it's just like very dreamlike. It's a time where, you know, we're kind of just floating. And so yes, we may have these desires of wanting love and things as the solar eclipse comes in, but we have to recognize that this is the time to be in the dream time. This is the time to be in the in-between, in the other world. It's a time to focus on our imagination and our magic instead of being in this space of distraction or victim consciousness. So I'm going to pull a card from one of these Rebecca Campbell decks. I don't even remember what this one is. Maybe you know if you can recognize the back. It says Pillar of Light. Your vibration is rising. You are the oracle. So I feel like we really need to suit up energetically, whether you imagine yourself having a pillar of light or a bubble of light, you know, using your crystals, smudging, using any kind of candle work, whatever you can do. Just remember, we're going into witchy season even deeper. And yes, it's a wonderful time of magic and insight and vision, but it's also a time where we have to be careful because there's a lot of us that have really pure intentions and there's others that don't. And we can't just pray away or deny that those other darker energies or agendas are there. They are there. And so we have the card Hawk. This is our spirit animal for the eclipse portal. Focus. Choose your priorities and eliminate all distractions. Don't try to manipulate or analyze whatever's happening. Focus. Just keep your head down. Keep your eyes focused on the prize, what you want to create, what your goals are, how you're going to take care of your body, how you're going to take care of your loved ones, how you're going to clean your house. I spent almost all last night and part of this morning deep cleaning my house. It was almost like I knew energetically I had to prepare my space so that I could just step into this really deep focus. And what I love about Hawk energy is not only is it this very powerful protector, Hawk is like very associated with seeing things from a higher perspective. So when we pan out and we see, oh, wow, this is the why for what's happening, instead of when we get really deep into the story and the drama of the human experience, Hawk helps us to expand our eyes and expand our perspective to understand the deeper meaning, which then allows us to go back into the details and be more productive with our time. So then from the Starseed Oracle deck, we have your life is a canvas. Artist, manifestation, creative accountability. So again, it's like we're stepping into this space where there's a lot of beauty. There's a lot of changes that can happen, really good changes. And I feel like as we step into October, we're going to see a lot more changes. But now is the time to really just pay attention and focus and not be swayed by what our thoughts are telling us. Just because we have a thought doesn't mean we have to believe it. So finally, we have this card, Freedom, from my deck. And the card for freedom is I free myself by letting go. So we just have to let go. We're not going to be able to control it. There's no way we can control it. Whatever's happening, whatever's falling away, it's just, we have to just let it happen and be as gentle as we can with the process and recognize that even if we don't have any branches, we can wrap our wings around us and we can know that we've got us no matter what. We'll always be okay and continue to rise above the negativity, rise above the fears, rise above the worry, rise above the self-fulfilling prophecies. Do not use your imagination in this time to imagine the worst possible scenario. Instead, choose to believe that the best is yet to come. Imagine what the most amazing outcome could be, and know that that's still limited in the infinite potentiality of the universe. It can be billions of times better than anything we could even imagine. So step into that space of wonder and curiosity, and this awakening can actually be quite enjoyable. It's only when we cling that we continue to keep ourselves in suffering. So let go and trust that as long as you are in the space of love and you are in alignment with the universe's plan for love to conquer all, then you'll always be okay. You'll always be in the highest timeline. And that's easier said than done. I get it. So if you want more information, you can book a reading with me on the Everclear app, get 3 minutes free plus $20 to use on phone or chat readings. I have extended the Galactic channeled reading sale for $44 off. So if you're interested in getting a Galactic channeled reading during the eclipse portal between now and October 2nd, again, the veils are very thin. It's an amazing time to receive insight. So I would love to support you. You can also book a free exploratory call if you want to know more about which offering is right for you. And again, follow me on TikTok and Instagram. I have daily energy updates, almost daily. But almost daily energy updates. So I'm giving you more information about what's happening day to day, and also other fun content and things like that. So I would love for you to join me on social. And again, thank you for being here. See you on the other side of the eclipse portal. We got this.